The 529 is more than just a college account. It's the most underused wealth building account in America, in my opinion. And the people who know how to use it pass down true generational wealth while everyone else scrambles to pay for school. And it works whether your kid is 1 year old or even 17, or if you're just planning to have kids one day. Hello, I'm Mark. I worked at Vanguard for 6 years as an advisor. Before I show you the 5 moves wealthy families are using with this account, even the real estate move that most parents don't even know exists, you have to first understand what a 529 is. At its core, a 529 is a tax advantage investing account. You put after-tax money in, it grows tax-free inside the account, and as long as you pull it out for qualified educational purposes, you'll never have to pay $1 of tax on the growth. That's the surface level pitch. And the wealthy use it for more than just that. Move number 1, start the 529 before the baby is born. Here's the thing that the wealthy people do that most people don't even talk about. They don't open up the 529 when the baby comes. They open it up years before. When you start at birth, you got 18 years to compound. Start 5 years before and you got 23 years. 10 years before, 28 years. Every extra year matters more than you realize. The mechanism is pretty simple. The IRS allows you to change the beneficiary of a 529 to a wide range of family members at any time, for most states. Completely tax-free as long as it stays within the family up to first cousins. So if you're planning on having kids in the next few years, you could open up a 529 today in your own name and invest aggressively. The account then compounds. When the baby arrives and you get a social security number, you log in, you fill out a beneficiary change form, and now the kid is the beneficiary of the runway you've already built. That's it. That's all. And here's what bothers me the most. Most first-gen parents skip that move because they think it's too fancy or it's just for the rich. And it's truly not. It's a 10-minute setup that buys you years of compounding. The wealthy do it because someone told them how. Now you know how to do it as well. Real quick, before we keep going, everything I'm walking you through today is part of a bigger system that I use to take first-generational families from paycheck to paycheck to building actual wealth. I teach a full strategy in my free investing class. The link is in the description. And you can grab a seat whenever you want, but I would recommend you do it right now. All right, now let's get back to the moves. Move number 2, the real estate rent move. This is more the move I get the most pushback on. So let me break it down very clearly so everyone understands. You cannot use a 529 to pay your mortgage directly. That's not the move. But what you can do is this. If your child goes to college and lives off campus, the 529 can reimburse their room and board tax-free up to the school's official cost of attending housing allowance. The kid has to be enrolled at least half-time, but this is where it gets fun. If you own the property your kid lives in, you can charge them rent. As long as that rent is at or below the school's housing allowance and you document it cleanly, the 529 reimburses your kid for that rent. They pay you, you're the landlord. Picture a $250,000 3-bedroom near a state school in a reasonable college town. And I'm not talking about NYU or Berkeley or some of the really expensive places out there. I'm thinking State College where Penn State is at, Madison, Tuscaloosa where the University of Alabama is at. Your kid lives in one room. 2 roommates rent the others at market rate. Your kid's rent is reimbursed by the 529. The roommate's rent goes straight to the mortgage. Your kid graduates, you keep up the property, you put a tenant in, and you've quietly built a real estate position with money you're going to spend on housing anyhow. But really quick guardrails. Only do this in markets where home prices and rent track the school's housing allowance. Don't try it with a $1 million condo in California. Keep what you charge your kid at or below the published allowance. Real receipts, a copy of the school's housing page in case the IRS asks, and talk to a tax professional before you buy a property for this. And I already know what some of y'all are going to say in the comments. This only works for rich people. But real talk, the people who are saying that are the ones who probably need it the most. The rich don't actually need to make this move because if their kid wants to go to school, they'll just write the check. This is for the rest of us. Every time a first generational family talks themselves out of doing something because they thought it was only reserved for the wealthy, that's how the wealth gap stays the wealth gap, amongst a lot of other things. Move number 3, leftover money becomes their Roth IRA. In 2024, a rule kicked in that quietly changed everything for 529s. It's called the Secure Act 2.0 rollover. After your 529 has been open for at least 15 years, you can roll up to $35,000 of the leftover money out of it and into a Roth IRA in your kid's name. Tax-free, penalty-free, Those are the rules. The rollover counts against your kid's annual Roth contribution limit, which is $7,500 a year right now. They have to have at least that much in earned income in the rollover year. But the normal Roth income limits don't apply, which means that high-earning kids who normally would be locked out of a Roth get money in this way. Now picture the worst case that most people are afraid of. Your kid gets a full tuition scholarship and doesn't need a 529, which really isn't a worst case scenario, but let's roll with it. Most parents look at that and think the money is trapped. It really isn't. You roll $7,500 into their Roth this year, another $7,500 next year. You keep going until you hit that $35,000 cap. By the time they're 60, that money could be worth over $700,000 or more. And they pull it all out tax-free at retirement. Crazy, right? The worst case scenario for a 529 just turned into the best wealth building moves that you could have ever made for your kid. They graduate from college already ahead of 95% of their peers because someone set up their retirement before they even had a real job. What about the other what ifs? If your kid gets a scholarship, the IRS allows you to withdraw up to that amount without the 10% penalty, though you still owe income tax on the earnings, but the penalty is waived. But if they decide that college isn't for them, you can change the beneficiary to a sibling, a cousin, your spouse. You can go back to school. The money does not get trapped. There are too many exits out there. Move number 4, stack the wealthy moves on top. 3 more moves the rich layer on top of all this. Grandparent FAFSA shift. Until recently, withdrawals from a grandparent-owned 529 counted as student income on the FAFSA and could tank the kid's financial aid. Starting with the 2024-2025 school year, those withdrawals don't count anymore. Grandparents can finally fund a 529 without messing up federal aid. Heads up though, private schools that use the CSS profile can still treat it differently. Estate planning. 529 contributions move money out of your taxable estate while letting you keep control of the account. And that's how wealthy grandparents pass wealth down to grandchildren and great-grandkids without losing chunks of it to estate tax. K through 12 and beyond. You can use up to $10,000 a year of 529 money for K through 12 tuition, depending on your state. And that includes trade schools, apprenticeship, and even some student loan repayment. The point is that the 529 is way more flexible than people might think. It's a family wealth account that moves between generations, between schools, even between use cases. Once you see it that way, opening one up tomorrow makes way more sense than waiting. Move number 5. If your kid is 5 today, here's the game plan. All right, forget about all the fancy moves for a second. Most of you guys have a kid that's already 5, 7, 10 years old. You've already started and you're sitting there thinking, Mark, where do I actually begin? Here are the 4 steps. Step 1, check your state. A lot of states give you a state income tax deduction for contributing to your home state 529. In the state of Georgia, we get a state tax benefit. Some states don't have a state income tax at all, so there's nothing to optimize for. Pull up your state's plan and see what's there. Step number 2, pick the plan. If your state has a real tax break, use the state plan. If it's mid or there's no benefit, you can pick any 529 in the country. My shortcut is going to Morningstar, which gives you all of the top plans. They publish a list every year of the best 529 plans with gold, silver, and bronze ratings. Decision done. Step number 3, pick the investment. Most 529s offer something called an age-based portfolio. When your kid is 5, they allocate to mostly stocks. When your kid is 17, they're allocating more to cash and bonds. And the plan rebalances itself, so you don't have to be a stock picker. Step number 4, automate. Anything above zero, $20 a month, $50, $400, whatever you could do today, just do it. Set it up once, let it run, increase it when you get a raise. Now let me show you why every year matters. $400 a month into a 529, starting the day that your kid is born, kept growing for 18 years at an average rate of about 8%. Per year, you're at roughly $190,000 by the time they hit college. And that's a real number. That puts a real dent in tuition. The same $400 a month started 5 years earlier, like my wealthy clients did when I was at Vanguard. Same contribution, same return, and you're at over $340,000. And these people are doing this not because they're smarter, they did it because someone told them how to actually do it. Now you know how to go about doing it too. Look, opening up a 529 is one move, but it's just one piece of a bigger picture. That's why I put together my free Financially Bulletproof checklist. It scores your finances across 5 different categories, including my cash flow waterfall that shows you the exact order to fund your account and breaks down every option for investing for your kids, 529, custodial accounts, Roth IRAs, UTMAs, and more. And if you want me to walk you through the whole system, I run a free investing class where I break down the 5-step plan I use for first generational families. Both links are in the description. If you got any value out of this, make sure you hit subscribe and check out this video on managing every paycheck so you never go broke again.